I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like to first do roll call.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Mr. Hackney?
Here.
Mr. Cavens?
Present.
Mr. Simmons?
Here.
Miss Glenn?
Here.
Thank you. I'd like to remind everyone this evening that, this is an official proceeding, so we ask that you have all your cell phones off and or silent so that we don't have an unexpected phone call during the course of our meeting this evening. This evening, we've got a case that we're going to get into. I want to first off make sure that we have the minutes approved. Any conversation on the minutes from last meeting? Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Got a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
I'll second.
Got a second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. This evening, we have only one case. Yes, Kathy?
We'll also need to approve the resolution from the last meeting, 2002, in the same manner as the minutes.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We'll need to approve the resolution from the last meeting in the same manner as the minutes.
That's right. And that was a resolution. This is Resolution BZA 20-02. Any discussion on that? I don't think we need to go through the resolution because it was approved last time. Any questions on the resolution from last meeting? We have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I don't remember last meeting.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. It has been a while. It was approved at the last meeting. I
March
signed
11th.
off on the resolution during this meeting here. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the resolution.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Randy, we'll need to take a vote on that,
Yes.
just to,
Do we have a vote on that to approve the resolution?
I would do a roll call.
Mr. Cavens?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Miss Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to swear in staff. Kathy, before we get started on the actual case, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Our first case this evening is case 2003. It's an applicant. The applicant is Janice Constanzer of 6990 Emery Court, and this is a R1A zone property. It's corner property. The request is for a variance for fencing within the frontage setback on a corner lot. I'd like to remind the board members and also those here in attendance that our focus this evening is on the fencing. It's not about ruling on the use of the property. So we are going to be discussing only the fence portion and how it complies or otherwise with the current zoning. The usage is a separate matter, and the issue is being addressed by community development. Anyone speaking on behalf of or oppose or who are going to speak in a neutral capacity must be a resident or business owner in Westchester, and you will be sworn in prior to your testimony. So, can we have the staff report on this, please?
Yes, again, this is BZA case 20-03. The applicant is Janice Constanzer. The location is 6990 Emery Court, and the request is for a variance. The applicant has filed for a variance from Article 11.09C, which is fences and walls to allow fencing in the front yard area extending past the parallel side of the house. Aerial photo, you'll see the subject site. The variance standards for this are A, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or whether there can be any beneficial use of the property without a variance. B, whether the variance is substantial. C, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered, or whether adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. D, whether the variance would adversely affect governmental services. E, whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction. F, whether the property owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some method other than a variance. And G, lastly, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning resolution would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. Article 11.09 states fences and walls may be located in any front, side, or rear yard as follows. C, for lots in a recorded residential subdivision, if not exceeding at any point 6 feet in height above the elevation of the surface of the ground, they may be located in the front yard parallel to the side of the house on corner lots, provided they are not located within the required setback. Zoning of the property is R1A, and you can see that it is completely surrounded by other properties in the R1A district. Consideration should be given to the description of request and reasons for variance form which has been submitted by the applicant. The board is to use its discretion to determine whether the statements presented warrant the approval of the requested variance. The applicant has a corner lot along Emery Court. In early 2020, the applicant installed 2 dog kennels utilizing his existing driveway. Westchester Community Development sent a notice of violation to the applicant indicating that fencing is not permitted in the front yard of a corner lot house in a recorded subdivision. The property is located in the Crestfield subdivision. The applicant wishes to keep the already built fencing that encompasses the driveway for use of providing outdoor space for dogs on the property. While called a dog kennel, the construction is still fencing, thus the issue. The property owner has landscaped around the kennels as well. In addition to the fencing, Community Development was asked to investigate whether the property is a dog kennel operation with an excessive number of dogs at the property. As the chairman stated, this is not before the board and is being handled separately by Community Development staff. In considering the applicant's request, the board needs to consider other homes in the area and whether the fencing fits the character of the area. The board should also consider whether the fencing will cause a detriment to any of the neighboring properties and whether the spirit and intent of the Westchester zoning resolution is still met. The standards also require the board to determine if there will be any beneficial use of the property without the variance. And the board shall consider the standards for variance as detailed in Article 8.053A through G that we went through. Site photos, this is a photo along Farm Crest Drive, looking to the side of the property to the driveway. This photo is along Emery Court on the other side of the property. And again, just another one from Farm Crest Drive. And I will leave you with the variance standards.
Any questions of staff?
The front of the property is on Emery Court, correct?
That's the way we understood it.
Okay. So the front of the property is on Emery Court.
Yes, it's a corner lot that faces,
Corner lot.
front
So-
faces Emery.
The fencing in question is on the side
The
where the driveway
The
is?
fencing in question is to retain the fence. Can we bring back the side
Absolutely.
photo, please?
While we're speaking about the fencing, is it a dog kennel or is it fencing? It is, okay.
This one?
Okay, so the fencing that you see back behind those trees, those skinny trees on the side, that white
The
fencing?
white fence.
Yeah.
And then there's fencing in
sorry.
behind that as well.
But that's on the side,
But this is
Okay,
one.
if I could just make clarification,
Yeah.
on a corner lot,
yes.
Yes.
both, there's 2 fronts and 2 sides.
Right.
So the side facing Farm Crest and the side facing Emery are both considered front yards.
Okay, thank you.
And you're not allowed fencing on those, even though it's a dual frontage. That's why they're here for the variance.
As long as you're not in the setback, correct?
All right. Okay, and for clarification, the setback on this is 30 feet,
It is.
and it's on both front, as we would look at it here, and also on the front as we look at it from the other direction. as well.
Correct.
30 feet back.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any other questions of staff?
How far back is the fencing, dog run area and the shrubbery. That's more than 30 feet, correct?
Well, excuse me, we'll ask the applicant to come up here in just a moment.
I thought staff might have been out there.
Yeah, any other questions just of staff at this
No.
point? No other questions? Okay. All right, we'd like to invite then the applicant to come up and give testimony, please.
Where
Yep.
would you?
Yes, right here, and you will need to step back here just a little bit while they give testimony, please. I'd like to swear you in, please.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand, and you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, if you would please, for the record, please state your name and address.
I'm Rob Lyons. I'm the attorney for the Constanzers, representing them regarding this variance matter.
Okay, thank you.
Patrick Constanzer, who lives at the
Okay.
property. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. To begin with, I'm a little confused. Was hired to represent the Constanzers on this. I saw the zoning violation notice, and in the notice itself, that was dated June 2nd, it indicates relevant article sections, which would be 1.01, 3.01, 5.01, 5.02, 5.06, 5.08, 5.09, 10.01, 10.03, 9.63, 14.04. Then it goes on to state installation of fence. But none of those itemized articles or sections reference fencing. The Constanzer's house has a below-grade driveway and garage. They put the dog runs in below grade in front of the garage. And again, we found out that the dog runs are what's being referred to, I take it, as the installation of fence. I can understand why someone would think they would not need a certificate of or a permit because it's below grade, it's not unsightly, and it's well away from the road where the runs are located. The runs are not typical fencing. They're not, that I believe that zoning resolutions are intended to address. No permit was taken out. If there is a request for, or if the board would like a zoning permit or certificate, I'm sure the Constanzers would comply. Like I say, I understand why they would not have thought one was necessary. If I could, you saw some photographs, but I've got another group here, and I only have one copy if I can start these here. The first three photographs are black and white. The first photograph, or number one, is a picture of the house before the dog runs.
Let's hold for just a second until we get this, so we
Okay.
can relate to what's being said here. Are these all the same, or?
Yeah, no, it's just one set of pictures, 1 through 7, I believe.
Okay.
Can I ask the question while you're passing out
Sure.
pictures? How tall is the dog run in height, and how tall is the white fence that appears to be blocking the dog run?
Well, good question, Mr. President, but the point is, or everything in the resolutions talk about a grade. And they are either at grade or slightly above grade, because it's not much beyond that. You can see that in the pictures.
I'm just asking for
How-
curiosity's sake.
do you know how tall those?
From the underground level, it's 6 feet.
When you're standing next to it, it's 6 feet.
No, when you're standing up on ground level, it's 3 feet, and that's in one of the pictures.
How about when you're walking out of the garage?
I'm walking out of the garage at 6 feet.
Okay, thank you. Both-
6 feet?
So the
Yes,
dog
sir.
run and the white fence that has the shrubbery in front of it, they're both 6 feet?
Yes.
Okay,
And there's a small access gate that's slightly smaller than
sure.
that. I just want to say, and this is for any residents, the zoning bylaws and stuff like that for us citizens can be a little tricky, and maybe we don't always think. So that'll never hold a penalty in my mind. I'm just glad you're here and we're talking about it, because obviously there was a disagreement. So there's no penalty in my mind for not getting that, but we would always stress that people try to seek that out.
Mr. Chairman, while everyone's looking, if I could just make a point of clarification, that when we're talking about grade level, we're talking about the average of the finished ground level at the center of the walls or structure. So we're not talking about the grade here when the fencing is here. We're talking, the grade level is at the bottom of the fencing, so it would be 6 feet.
All right, I'm looking at these pictures. It appears that the dog runs and the white fencing are both about the same height as the garage door. Is that a pretty accurate assessment?
Yes.
And the garage door is only 6 feet tall?
Correct. We couldn't fit a car.
That's problematic with the house. Yeah.
Okay, just asking.
No, good,
Because I don't duck when I walk
good
in the barn, that's
point,
why I'm
and that
kinda
is,
curious.
that is one of the
I'm not trying to
problems.
play detective, just trying to get clarification.
Are these
We-
your dogs, or
Yes,
are they your,
yes. And dogs I work with.
you work with?
I volunteer at a farm up in Hillsborough that they're retired, and he's had health scares recently. So I alter the dogs back and forth from their farm while I volunteer work with them.
So they're
How-
temporary residents?
They are temporary, some of them are temporary residents, and some of them are actually my dogs as well.
How many?
5 are my dogs.
So this is like an Airbnb sort of.
Pretty much. I mean, they have a huge kennel up there in Hillsborough, so I transport them back and forth. But I needed to take they're good family friends, and I needed to take the load off a friend of ours, so.
He met with the dog warden, got the 5 licenses, and also the dog warden commented about what a good
concerned
setup.
about that at all.
Yeah. How far out do the runs come out away from the garage?
They come out 20 feet,
10 feet?
20 feet.
20 feet.
yes.
So you're 20 feet, into essentially the setback area.
No,
That driveway appears to be much longer than 30 feet.
it is.
And again, I don't have a measuring tape, but.
And that's the measurement,
Okay,
as far as I.
we actually have the inspector here. Can we have Bernie to come up, please?
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Is this a temporary situation for you, or is this a long-term situation for you?
Temporary situation.
How long is temporary in your mind?
As soon as I can get out of Westchester, I'm going to, with my dogs.
But we love you here. Why would you leave?
I don't mean to put it that way, but I'm not
They
trying to
also
cause
have,
anyone
they also
problems.
have a place in Florida.
Yes, and I stated that to some of our neighbors, that I'm planning to relocate the dogs to our other property. It's just given the
Okay.
time.
Okay. Have a question of the inspector. There we go. Bernie, the setback is 30 feet on that property. What did you determine the house, say, relative to the fence in terms of its distance into the setback area?
So the fence, as it stands in the driveway, is entirely inside of the setback. The existing house garage wall is right at the setback line. So anything in front of that is constitutionally in the front yard.
Okay, so just for clarification, you're saying that essentially the garage door, okay, or right there, the house,
Yeah,
that, on that side, because it's a corner lot, the setback is 30 feet to that point.
to that,
So anything coming out towards the road at that point would be an infraction on the setback. Is that what you're saying?
correct. It would be intruding into the front yard setback.
Okay. Okay.
Does the setback begin at the road, or is there a right-of-way there?
The setback actually begins at the right-of-way, which is the actual property line. I believe the right-of-way there is 12 and a half feet to 15 feet somewhere on that nature.
So then, effectively, the garage door of the house is roughly 45 feet away from the road.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So the driveway is how long? You were out, if you had to guess, you were out walking the property, that's why I'm
The
asking.
driveway from the face of the garage doors
Yes,
to the curb
yes.
would be 45 feet approximately.
Okay, so at a bare minimum, depending on where the lot actually begins, and sometimes it begins in the middle of the road, sometimes it begins back past the sidewalk, their enclosure and fences are intruding in the right-of-way.
Entirely, yes.
When you say entirely.
Not
Like
into the
whole
right
set?
of way, no. No, no, no.
Into the easement.
Into the setback.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Any other questions for Bernie?
Not this time.
Okay.
You know, as I indicated, these are not typical fencing issues because we're not talking about boundary fences or anything of that nature. These runs are small and below grade and decorated in such a way that it's hard to detect that they're even there as you drive by. The dog runs certainly do not detract from the appearance of the neighborhood and certainly do not pose a health or safety issue. And going through A through G, I can't say that that not having the variance would affect the value of the property, or but B through G certainly there's no adverse consequences for these dog runs being in this driveway below grade with the decorative things around them. It's, like I said, it's very noticeable. I know when I first went up to look at it, I drove by it 3 times before I could figure out what I was looking for.
I'm sure they had to point it out to you. I'm sure they had to point it out to you.
Yeah. I would ask that the runs be allowed to stay. They are certainly not detrimental to the neighborhood. So, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Rob.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak as a proponent of the application? A proponent?
I do have a letter here from one of the neighbors that couldn't be here tonight. I don't know if you'd like to have that.
Yeah, I'll read that in.
Hello.
Good
Hi.
evening.
Would you raise your hand and give us your name and address, and then we will
It's
swear you
Deborah
in?
Ream, R-E-A-M. It's, I forgot my
Okay.
address. Oh,
Okay.
9710 Farmcrest Drive, Westchester, Ohio.
And you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
I have signatures by, oh,
You can pull your mask down.
I might infect something. I got to start
We
teaching
can
next
hear you
week.
much better.
I got signatures from the people on Emory and on Farmcrest saying, "We below have signed and live on Farmcrest and Emory Court, oppose the construction of the fence in the front yard, including the driveway." And if you've noticed, there's a lot of people here who are not liking it either.
Is this for or against?
We're against.
Oh, okay,
We're
we were
supposed to be
asking
here
for
if you're for it.
proponent.
Didn't hear
Proponent.
that part.
All right, so
Anybody for?
don't leave. I mean, there may not be any proponents. Did we have any proponents?
Is there anybody in favor?
Okay, proceed.
That's it.
You've been
Anybody
sworn in.
not in favor?
So I
please
have-
step to the
This
podium.
is those that are not in favor.
Correct. Against the fences in the driveway and in the front yard, including the driveway.
Meaning they don't want it.
We don't want it.
Any type of
Would you like
fencing.
to read?
Right.
Would you,
Okay.
would you like
They
that?
don't want a
Kathy?
driveway anymore.
I cannot hear you,
Yes.
sir.
If you could
Yes,
submit that
you
to
can give, you
Kathy.
can give that
I will
to,
give it to her.
Thank you.
It's just not nice looking in our neighborhood. And if we want to sell our house, you know, they'll hear the other things up there. And it's just something that we're not happy with, the
Is
whole
this-
neighborhood.
Is this a, I can ask questions, right? Are you finished? I'm sorry.
I'm done. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Is this a noise nuisance issue, or is this a you don't like the visual effect of the
Sometimes we
fence?
can hear the
So,
dogs,
so it's both?
too, yes.
Okay.
How long have you been, how long have you noticed that this has been going on?
Since the beginning of COVID, since he started putting it up.
Okay.
When did the dogs move in?
Oh, I don't know. It was winter, I don't even know.
Excuse
gotta-
me,
we gotta-
excuse
we gotta wait.
excuse
Have it
me.
on the mic.
Yeah. If
Sorry.
you'd like to speak, you'll have an opportunity to speak. at
Okay,
the-
so
at
you
the
noticed them
podium.
during the beginning of COVID lockdown? That's when you noticed them?
And when the fencing started.
Okay.
Last year, when I was going to work, there was a man standing in my driveway, and I asked, what's happening? And he goes, I'm measuring for a fence. And I said, I'm not getting a fence. And he said, it's for the White House. So I don't know what fence they were putting in or what he was doing with the measuring,
Okay.
the surveying. But I assume he would have known he could not have those fences there, those dog runs.
We do this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Truthfully, nobody knows if they're allowed or not, and sometimes it's just not front of mind, and most people don't ask. That's why we're very used to this type of stuff. So I'm sure they didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, but the measuring, depending on what they were doing, measuring, our focus is really on the retaining of the fence, which is already there in the driveway area. So that's our only focus here.
And it
you wanna
sounds
say
like
anything?
you don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, if you see all the neighbors that are here, I'm not the only one, and the signatures,
How many
Okay.
signatures are on there?
there's 6.
30.
Oh, sorry,
30.
6.
Okay,
And some of them weren't able to make it tonight.
I understand.
Okay. All right, anything else?
Anything else from you?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Swear me in?
Okay, can you
Sure.
come down, and I'm going to need to swear you in as well, please, sir. Your name, please,
My name is Ralph Ream,
and your address, please.
9710 Farmcrest Drive.
And you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Proceed.
I'd just like to reiterate what my wife has said, that we were very surprised to see fences in a driveway, first of all. It didn't make sense to me. Most people park their cars and driveway in the garage. But I can't see this enhancing a property value when you go to resell your house. Who wants to buy something like that unless they're in a dog people and they want to start a kennel or something. So it really doesn't make sense to leave them there because I don't see how that could help the neighborhood or anybody else who would want to buy the house later on. Just to me, it doesn't make sense. So, yeah, that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak against the applicant? Just please come on up. Yes, please. Yeah, it helps a lot. Did you like to swear you in, sir? Would you raise your right hand, please? Raise your right hand.
I am hard of hearing, and I haven't really been hearing what's going
Yes,
on.
would you kindly raise your right hand? We will swear you in. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God.
Thank you. And for the record, would you please state your name and address?
Ben Davidson, 7,000 Emery Court.
Thank you, sir. Proceed.
Okay. I have lived at the same spot for 37 years. We have a good neighborhood, or we had a good neighborhood, and I had hoped to spend the rest of my days where I'm at. But what's going on with this puppy mill, the remnants of a puppy mill, I had heart trouble too, and I run out of breath.
Take your time.
But anyway, I'd like to end my days where I'm at. But I definitely don't want to do that with next door to a puppy mill. You destroying our property, and even last Saturday, I've been getting verbal abuse from one of the gentlemen that lives there. And he has attacked me twice, one on the way out and one on the way in. And then for an encore, he mooned me. And I don't really appreciate that. We've got kids in the neighborhood, good kids. And I don't know how a mama could explain that to a little kid. And I just, I want to stay where I'm at. And I don't want to stay by the puppy mill.
Where do you live, sir, relative to this neighbor? Do you have an adjoining property, or are you across the street?
No,
Where are you?
we adjoin it, unfortunately.
Say again?
They live right next.
They're adjoining
Next door. Okay,
I'm in the cul-de-sac.
gotcha. Okay, anything further, sir?
No, that's about all I want. We don't need this in our community. Take a commercial business and take it somewhere else. There's commercial land around. Don't destroy our neighborhood, and that's what they're doing. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question of Rob?
Yes, you got a question? Rob, could you
Rob, I got a
step back
question
up,
for you.
please?
You have been sworn in, so. Are they breeding dogs here? Is there any?
It's not, it's certainly not a puppy mill.
Okay, I'm just asking. I mean, are they breeding dogs and selling puppies out of here?
It is not a puppy mill. I'm not going to say they've never had puppies, but it's not a puppy mill.
Okay,
It's-
I'm just.
Yeah.
I think for clarification, anything that's happening that might be said or
I'm
Yeah.
just
about the
asking for
applicant,
I
clarification.
appreciate
we
the
cannot
question.
verify
Yeah.
without a
Remem-
shadow of a doubt.
Remember, our mission here is to just judge the fence component of this, not the use.
And we're not saying it's happening or not happening,
I
but
was just asking for clarification.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Rob.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak against the applicant? Yes, sir, please come up. Yes, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Great. If you would, for the record, please state your name and address.
Berlin Jordan,
And your
9701 Farmcrest Drive.
Thank you, sir. Proceed.
Now, I'm gonna tell you, I'm still upset from yesterday. I've sat there in my garage, all in and out, and I'm there by myself. And this guy over there, for some all-out reason, he runs down. I called the police and reported it. Run down there and like a bully, come down the street, and I didn't know what was going on. He come down there and flashed his camera up, his phone up, and turned around and went back up the street. I don't know what his problem is, but I'm not bothering him. I'm tending my own business. But it's not good. It's not good. But I don't know what his problem was. But to me, that was a threat. And I sit there in the garage, and I'm in the house, and out of the house. I'm there by myself. But I don't know what I don't know what the man's problem was. I tend to my own business, but it's not good there no more.
Okay.
But like I said, I don't know, to me, what he done was a threat. I was getting ready to get in the truck, and I've been down in my hip. So I come and sit in the garage and eat, and I listen to all the noise. But I should have been calling the police a lot more. But like I said, I don't bother them.
Yes, sir, this is really about the fence.
It's about the fence, but
Okay,
the people's got the fence.
yes.
But we're only allowed to talk about the fence.
We
It
can't,
looks, huh?
We're only allowed to talk about
we're
the
only
fence.
just allowed to, you
All
know,
right, well, I wanted
we
on
appreciate your
record,
comments.
that the guy was, come down and take my picture.
We appreciate it.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak against the applicant? Yes, sir, please approach the,
Regarding the fence.
yeah. And please keep your comments to the fence.
I'm new. My name's Mike Timmer.
If you would, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And for the record, your name and address, please.
My name is Mike Timmer, and I just moved into 7,000 Cindy Drive.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Could I just get a quick clarification on the corner lot? Because it was always my understanding the corner lot had two front sides, two fronts, and that the setbacks were parallel to the side of the house. So could you explain that? In other words, setbacks don't apply to the front yards, only the side yards.
No. You have a front setback, side yard setbacks, and rear yard setbacks.
But I thought the corner lot was the exception is what I was asking.
To the traditional rule, yes. But by definition, a corner lot entails two front yards.
By zoning resolution, a corner lot has two front yards, but are there setbacks on the two front yards? Are they parallel to the sides of the house is what I'm asking.
They may or may not parallel the building. The building, as long as it's set outside of those setbacks, you get a building pad, what they refer to in the business.
So where the building is placed on the lot?
Yes.
I got you. So then the other thing, a comment I had, the gentleman testified that this was a temporary issue. And if it's a temporary issue, I have to ask, why are we going through this? So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
And then clarification on that, because there's two front yards, considered the front yard stipulations apply to both set areas, correct?
Correct.
Each side facing a street.
There's two front yards and two side yards, no rear yard. Because of the, sort of kind of.
Technically, yes, even though there is still a rear yard.
Right.
It's one of those.
Corner lots are great.
One of those
We love
strange
corner
things
lots.
about a corner property, yes.
It's a pitfall of having a corner lot. If there's a pitfall, but.
Anybody else wish to speak? Yes, ma'am, please approach. Raise your right hand, please. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
So help me God.
Please, for the record, state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Christina Baker. I live at 7017 Cindy Drive.
Thank you. Proceed.
I do have a problem with their fencing. My husband and I and our two small kids walk the neighborhood every night when it's not extremely hot out. It is not very nice looking in our neighborhood. We have a bunch of older families that built our houses, that grew up in our area, and they live there all the time. When you are walking past their driveway, all you see is a couple trees, and it's nothing but fencing, metal fencing, and it looks like a business is run out of there. When you walk down Emerson Drive, there is nothing that blocks it. It's not in our neighborhood. It is not in what Westchester should look like. It looks like it should be in a business or it should be out in a farm. My husband grew up out on a farm. This is what it looks like to keep dogs kenneled in together. It literally looks like a kennel in our little neighborhood.
Would you classify this as the character of your neighborhood?
I'm sorry,
Would you classify it in the character of your neighborhood?
no.
Thank you.
So you,
talking about the white fence or the black fence?
I'm talking about the white fence. The fence that is in the front in the driveway.
Okay, that's just it.
It's in the driveway.
How long? It's not that long, right?
It's the width of the
It's the width of the driveway.
It's a 2.5 car driveway width-wise.
It takes
And
up
it
the
is-
whole driveway?
It is
on the
taking
side?
up the entire driveway,
And the driveway sits down below.
yes.
Like, it almost looks like, it looks like a part of the house.
It is, no, if you are walking down Farm Crest, you can tell that that is not part of the house, it is not part of the driveway. They put that up, and it does not look nice for our neighborhood.
let me ask you this.
Yes,
When
sir.
you're walking on the side this way, the front of the house. and
On
so the-
Emerson or on Farmcrest?
What's the front of the house?
That would be Emery.
Emery.
As
Emery.
clarification.
Okay, if you're walking down Emery and the house is on your right-hand side,
It'll be,
yeah, you're coming this way, across the photo, towards the blue truck. Can you see the fence or the cages or the runs
yes, sir.
over the driveway
This-
wall?
you
Yes,
can't-
sir.
Can't
This
see
is
it.
an older
Yes, sir.
picture.
Okay, that's what I was asking. So you can
Yes, sir.
actually see the metal there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just trying to.
No,
understand.
you're perfectly fine. I just want to make sure that you guys know from that
So we can
it's,
assume you don't like it?
no, sir. And I live on the other street and we always walk that driveway or those streets because it's a great little neighborhood to walk and it's a dead-end streets. So there's not hardly any traffic but when our neighborhood is walking, you can tell.
Okay.
If people are trying to sell their houses, this is going to take down our property value.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can I ask a question of staff? This is in a HOA community or no?
It is not.
Okay. In Westchester Township, can you have fences running across your driveway? I've never encountered this, that's why I'm asking.
If we're speaking about corner lots, you can if they are not within that setback that we've been talking about.
So you can just
The
run a
issue
fence
is the
right
house
across.
here is on the setback, so every portion of the fence is within the required setback. So if the house were set back 5 more feet, they would have 5 feet that they would be able to take that fence out, yes.
Okay. Okay.
20 feet of it's encroaching, is what you say.
So if we're gonna give an easement, we have to give approximately a 5-foot easement or a 20-foot easement?
But the entire fence is within the setback.
We're gonna give a 20-foot easement?
Yeah, it goes all the way to the garage doors.
Okay.
All the way up to it.
Just making sure we're all on the same page. Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to, yes, sir, please come up.
The slide with the
Yeah, would you please raise,
8053, please.
sir, would you please raise your
sorry.
right hand so we can swear you in? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And for the record, please state your name and address.
Thomas Hauer, 9740 Farmcrest Drive, Westchester, Ohio.
Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
I would say that the fence basically hits 8053C. Basically, with the fence there, he's able to keep more dogs in the property than most of the people in the neighborhood have. Everyone seems to have 1, maybe 2 dogs. His own admission, he has 5. That fence allows him to have more dogs in that area. That would be a noise issue for some of the neighbors, and I would say it hits C up there, saying that we could suffer a substantial detriment as a result of that variance to the property values of our houses.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I ask applicants a question?
Yes, please come up.
Got to come up first. Question I have for you real quick. Is it possible to use,
I'm sorry, I don't believe you've been sworn in.
I think he was
I
earlier.
was.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
he was
sorry.
sworn in.
I'm
He was
sorry.
sworn in.
Okay.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Is invisible fence even an option here? Can you wire invisible fence around the yard? That way the dogs have the entire yard to run and nobody sees a fence?
Well,
I'm just asking.
my thinking behind this was to protect the neighborhood. My dogs are smart, a lot of smart dogs. They know to go sit at the end of electrical fence till the batteries run out, and then go roam around the neighborhood.
What type of dogs are they?
They're German Shepherds.
I've had a white shepherd. Love them dearly.
They're
Smart
all white
dogs.
Shepherds. Sorry to interrupt you.
Smart dogs, but invisible fence worked wonderfully.
Really.
Absolutely spectacular. I'm just asking if it's a possibility.
My old white Shepherd was always able to get out of it at our house in Weatherington.
Sometimes you have to put a couple extra prongs on the collar because the fur is so heavy.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just asking if it's a possibility.
That was years ago too, as well. They've updated them since then. And
Yep.
but when I said five dogs, there's no more than 5 dogs at my house at a given time.
Okay.
I'm rotating back and forth.
Let me ask you a question to follow up on that. Didn't you say that you personally own 5 dogs?
Yes.
So then you don't have anybody else's dogs on the property then at that time?
No, I rotate them in and out with the farm in Hillsborough.
Okay.
My own dogs, they have their own boarding facility up there.
Okay.
So when
But I'm just asking, just devil's advocate, if the facility's not good for those dogs to be there, then why would you put your dogs there?
the facility, I'm just taking dogs back and forth
Okay.
to help him out with training and whatnot. All these dogs are working class dogs. They go as emotional support dogs, they go as track and rescue dogs, they go as police dogs. I just help with the training.
So you help with the training at this facility?
Mhm.
Would you say that this is within the character of this neighborhood?
What's in character?
Would you expect to see this in this neighborhood? And have you seen this in other neighborhoods in Westchester?
I've seen people with dog kennels in their driveway, yes.
Do you have?
And actually our neighbors, but their driveway is back around the back of their house. They have one of those big dog crates that's
So it's in the
10 by
back,
20.
you would say that's in the backyard then?
Also, your backyard's not, how long is your backyard? I mean,
Not 20 feet,
20 feet.
not even.
So you couldn't have put, or could you have put the run in the back?
No.
Why not?
I just said it's not even 20
We could
feet.
ask staff if that's something that's feasible or not.
Yeah.
Would, Kathy, so is there a setback on the backyard from your neighbor's property?
I think we want to finish up with him and then we'll ask staff.
Okay, I was just trying to,
And again, when people ask, we're not trying to trip you up, we're just
No.
trying to
Yeah.
understand.
yeah.
I mean, if you think it's in the character, say, yeah, I think it is. I mean, don't
I
pull
mean,
up the
yeah, I
one,
kinda
don't pull up
think
the
it-
one that's might be the outlier. If it's normal, then yeah, it's normal. If it's not, say, yeah, it's really not. I mean, we're not trying to trip you up. We
Right,
just want to get
yeah,
a
I mean,
feel.
I asked the ones,
I'm just
neighbor.
more, I apologize to interrupt, I was just more
You feel-
understanding the term of character, because right down the, I don't know if you're asking character about just the dogs in general, but right diagonally across from us is a guy that runs a construction company, and he's got bobcats and everything in his driveway, so.
when I'm asking the character of having a fenced-in driveway like that.
Gotcha.
Is that something you've seen before in Westchester? If you have, where was that at? And do you expect to see something like that? Is that completely fine to see that? If all your neighbors wanted to have that, would that be completely fine in your eyes?
If my neighbors are okay with it, yes.
I mean, if they all did it as well.
No, Evan, he just
That would
answered the
be
question.
fine.
If all his neighbors are okay with it, then yes.
Yeah.
But
Thank
if
you.
some of your neighbors had a problem with it, or you had a problem with it, it's not okay. Is that right?
I'm confused by the question.
If your other neighbors decided to all of a sudden have that, would you be okay with that as well?
Of course, that's on their property. I believe, I don't mean to get into this topic, but I believe in our forefathers and our freedom. And I feel like, I'm already a slave to the property tax here, so I should be able to do what I want on my property. I apologize, I don't mean to be blunt, but.
Okay, thank you.
I have a different question here. The fencing that you have in there right now, and I'm not talking about the white one, I'm talking about the stuff that's on the side. How is it in the ground? Is it in the ground, or is it on a temporary base of some sort? How is it?
Are you talking about the
I'm
fencing?
talking about the cyclone fence.
This backside fence, which is black?
No, he's talking
He's
about.
talking
your
about the
metal
I'm
driveway
talking about the
How's
stuff
it
that's
secured?
running 20 feet out from
Gotcha.
the
You're
garage.
talking about the metal dog run.
It
that's hidden
is,
by the white
it's
fence.
cemented to the ground, but it can be
Cemented
removed.
into the ground.
Yes.
So, and how many lengths of this track do you have, or this fencing do you have coming out that's cemented into the ground?
How many holes do I have?
How many runs of fencing do you have
Two.
coming out from the garage?
2. And then there's a divider between one, so if you want to consider it 3, but it's.
So
it's
you've got runs on the left of the entry going into the door, and you have runs going on the right, right?
Yes. Yes,
So that's
sir.
4 runs minimum, right? 4 runs of fencing coming out from your house?
Yes, I apologize, yes.
Okay, so you've got four runs of tracking coming out. Okay, and then you've got how many runs going across? It looked like there were 2 runs coming across the ends to basically provide the concealing aspect.
When you say runs, I'm thinking dog runs, so it's
I'm
kind of
talking
throwing me
about
off. Just the runs of
lengths
fencing.
lengths of fence.
Just 2. Are you talking about in front of the tree boxes, in front of the white fencing?
Yeah.
It'd just be 2 runs.
Yeah, Rob, I see you, come on up.
And we're sorry if you feel attacked. We're just trying to get an understanding because we have no idea. We've never been there.
No, I'm not understanding, I'm sorry.
You know, again, it makes for two different runs. There'd be a run of fence on each, and then one of the separate runs has a divider in the middle. So that's what Patrick said, it would be like 3 different confinement areas in there. But
So there's an exterior confinement area, and then there's inside, there's
two
things that
runs,
break it up
one
into
from
3 areas.
Each garage bay.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Sorry.
And again, we're not attacking you, we just have.
No, I just didn't understand the question.
Yeah, but they all are cemented into the driveway. It's not a temporary setup.
How many, I mean, and that's something that could be cut very quickly to remove. But I think that actually these questions are very telling, because certainly from the pictures you saw and the pictures I presented, you can't even tell what fence is there.
You're asking the questions about the fencing.
Well, no, I mean, we're
I'm
not
going
gonna
to
see the
stop you there.
base.
I
from-
appreciate the
yeah.
thought, but that's not the case. We can see
Yeah.
it's there. We're trying to understand how it's.
What is actually there, but like I say, it's not visible from the street, either street.
Even an 8-foot fence, I'd still ask the same question. I could see clear as day. I'd ask if it was
Yeah,
cemented
we're
to
just
the
asking
ground.
how it's constructed and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's
Is it,
a fact finding, we're trying to understand. That's all we're trying to do.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Any other questions? Any other
Yeah,
questions?
I
Yes,
have
sir.
one. I drove by today and took a look at it, and once you turn the corner onto Emery and you go in front of your house, it appeared to me that there was I believe it was a wrought iron fence of some sort that's on the other side of the house. And is that a completely fenced-in area, an enclosed area? Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming you did not choose to use that area for the dogs because it's easier to let them out through the garage into a enclosed area than moving them into that area? Is that?
Well, yes, that way they have an indoor area for when it's heated and whatnot, but part of it is actually because Westchester won't let me build in my front yard as well. So that was the plan.
But that would be a side yard, wouldn't it?
Rear yard, maybe, depends.
The side yard, and then it goes out into my front plane in my yard if you pass the front plane of my house. So that was the original, but yeah, I wasn't able to do that, so.
Okay. All right. And there, if I saw it correctly today, there appeared to be a walkway down the middle between the two runs. So you've got a run that's coming out on either side of a walkway that looks like it might be 15, 20 feet out from the garage door it's basically a chain link fence that goes all the way around, and then you put the white fence in front of it with planters, right? With
Yes,
a
sir.
walkway right down the
Trying to
middle.
help disguise it a little bit and make it feel.
Yes, more welcoming to the neighborhood, although they don't feel that way, so. I was still building on it, but I was building the basic structure here we're talking about. It's boxes out from my garage. And it's just the enclosure of my garage, like what you asked at first. It's just 2 boxes out from my garage, and one of the boxes has a divider wall down the middle of it, so it can fit 2 dogs separately.
Makes sense to me.
Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you.
Would you like the photographs?
Yeah.
You might want to give them to staff for the record.
I have another thing to add. We did bring a letter and give it to her with somebody that's okay with it.
Right.
I also have more verbal agreements from other people in the neighborhood, including the person that's directly across from the kennels, dog runs, and a couple of the neighbors that are diagonally from them. I can always get their signature and get their letter.
Unfortunately, we needed them today.
Yeah.
We need them today, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have
Is
questions
there,
of staff.
yes, you have questions of
Of
staff?
staff when we're done.
Yeah, okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak against the applicant? Yes, sir, please approach. Please raise your right hand.
Yes, sir.
Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
So help me God, sir.
And for the record, please state your name and address.
Scott Baker, 7017 Cindy Drive.
Thank you,
My
sir.
wife just recently came and spoke. I definitely have to disagree with the gentleman's lawyer. Like I said, my wife and I, we take walks in the neighborhood every evening. We live there almost 10 years now. As you're walking down Farmcrest and going down that hill, not only can you see it and see over it, so can the dogs. And when the dogs are in there, they will bark at you. For it not being visible, the dogs can bark at you very well. They can see you very well.
Sir, please address your comments.
It is very visible and very clear. Like I said, I live there. I've been there since they moved in. There have definitely been occasions where there have been more than 5 dogs there at a time.
You're
in the
against
kennels
the
and the
fence.
runs. Like I said, it is an eyesore. It is a neighborhood that I have lived in that long. I have property value there. I do spend a lot of time in that neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. It's an old neighborhood. Everybody takes care of their stuff. We do definitely have a gentleman that lives across the way from him with a construction business, and everything's kept neatly in the backyard. It's not an eyesore. Like I said, it is definitely visible. It is a visible property as you walk down the road. It's visible. The dogs can see you.
So you're against the fence?
Very against it.
That's all we needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak against the applicant? Yes, sir. Please come up. And you've been sworn in already?
Yes, I have been sworn.
Okay.
I just wanted to add one thing that I hadn't thought of earlier. Now, I was born here and raised here. I've lived here my whole life in this area. And I've known a lot of people with dog runs, and they've all been in their backyards, but I've never once in my entire life seen one in a driveway in this area. Never. So if you have examples, I would like to have them pointed out to me. And that's all.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone wish to make any neutral comments?
I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. I do have some comments that were submitted to staff, and because of COVID precautions and people can't be here, we'd like to read these into the record.
Sure, yes. Will you please read those, Kathy?
Okay. I live at 9691 Farmcrest Drive and see the fencing structure from my living room picture window. They've spent a lot of money in an attempt to make it attractive and seem like very nice people, but I object because, number one, the structure functions as a kennel constructed of large dog pens in the driveway and includes the interior of the 2-car garage. In addition, there is a large separate cage on a new pad in the backyard, a hay bale puppy pen in the front yard, and large igloo-shaped doghouse. This all may not meet the technical definition of a kennel, but sure looks and sounds like one. Whatever is really going on, the result is a genuine nuisance to the neighborhood. Number two, even without the dogs, the structure is highly unusual and out of character for Westchester. It looks very much like a kennel, bizarrely located in their driveway. It is also constructed closer to the street than the other structure on Farmcrest or Emery Court. In the context of a quiet suburban neighborhood, this particular arrangement is an eyesore. The structure eliminates most of the driveway parking and blocks the garage, causing them to park in ways that amplify this eyesore. This clearly reduces the property value of those that live nearby. Boyce Privet, 9691 Farmcrest Drive, Westchester, Ohio, 45069. I signed the petition opposing the change for 6990 Emery Court, but also wanted to provide my comments via email if needed. I'm opposed to a zoning variance allowing fencing in the front yard of this property. Since the owner has already erected the fence, despite a zoning citation, we can see the end result of the fencing. As a result of the driveway, kennel/fence, there is occasional partial obstruction of the street, cars parked on the front yard rather than the driveway. While I wish to maintain cordial relationships in the neighborhood, the front driveway, kennel/fence, is unsightly and will potentially decrease home values in addition to causing traffic issues. Thank you, Bridget Lottie. And I do not have an address for Ms. Lottie. In case number 20-03 concerning a variance for fencing at 6990 Emery Court, we are opposed to granting such a variance. While we are in favor of property rights and allowing owners latitude in what they do to their own property, the difference in this case is that the variance appears to be in order to further the ability to run a business in a residential neighborhood. As can be seen in the circled picture from the screenshot below on the second page of the Bear Paw Farms website, this business is indeed being run out of 6990 Emery Court. As can be seen in this picture, is taken from the vantage point near the house looking downhill toward Emery Court. In addition to wanting to build a fence to further business pursuits, the owners of 6990 Emery Court have also burned dog feces and drained waste through the drainage ditches that run through their property onto mine and then into the creek that runs through my property and beyond. While not specifically a subject of this zoning appeal, such information is further evidence of actions a business would need to take in order to get rid of the waste from many dogs. In closing, we would like to thank the members of the Board of Zoning Appeals for their dedication and hard work for the citizens of Westchester. Having worked in both the U.S. House and Senate, we realize the long hours and thankless tasks you are asked to perform. It is community members like you that truly make the United States a great place to live. Sincerely, Douglas Mink and Jennifer Cook Mink.
Can I ask a question about that last email?
Absolutely.
She said there's a picture. It's pretty much saying that that's an active business. Is there a picture in there that's...
They did attach a screenshot from the website, yes.
And it is one with that address? And it's pretty much acting as a business?
It doesn't, the screenshot that they sent does not list the address. It just, they're indicating that this picture is evidence that it was taken on that property. But it doesn't, the website doesn't actually list the Emery Court address.
Can we see that picture?
Absolutely.
Randy, I'd actually say that doesn't really pertain to this case on whether it's a business or not.
That's true.
That's true.
But I'd like to see the picture.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
And I have one more in opposition.
Yes, Kathy, please.
The lot located at 6990 Emery Court is not of irregular shape. Almost all zoning resolutions within any township throughout the entire state of Ohio have corner lot zoning restrictions for fencing. Wouldn't the logical order of events have dictated that the variance be given prior to construction? This appears to be an afterthought asking for a favor. Laws and zoning resolutions are made to be enforced, not broken. The variance being asked for is not located in a planned development or business district. We highly discourage Westchester Township Board of Zoning Appeals to allow a variance on any lot within this community. These are residential properties and were purchased that way. Anytime the Board of Zoning Appeals allows a variance in zoning, it will have an effect on property values. It will be interesting to see if the variance is issued or denied, since there is no tax revenue advantage for the township. There is no purpose for this appeal other than the appeasement of an individual property owner. Please deny the variance. Sincerely, Sherry Tarter and Mike Timmer.
Is that the last one?
Yes, it is.
Thank
Were
you.
there any in favor?
You delivered tonight?
I did, when we get to the, it wasn't a proponent, it was a neutral.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Kathy. Are there any comments, neutral comments that would like to be made relative to this application?
I do have one neutral comment to read in.
Yes, Kathy.
To whom it may concern, hello, my name is Lena Botsford. I live at 9671 Farmcrest Drive. I have no issue with my neighbor's dog runs in their driveway at 6990 Emery Court.
Have no issue?
No issues.
Okay, thank you. Okay. If there are no additional comments, we will close public comments and move into deliberation. And that is where the board will speak among itself, and there will be no more citizens' comments. Okay, so with that, let's move into deliberation.
Well, I think it's very clear there's a majority of the neighbors here that think this is definitely out of the character of their environment, of where they live. I think it definitely does go against the essential character of the neighborhood and the adjoining properties, and I can definitely see a detriment of property values if this is continued to stay. The property owner states that these are cemented in, so to me, when those were installed, there was some sort of permanent intention with erecting those. Right. I would also like to add staff's comments said that grade is not what you can see from down below a street. It's what you're taking into account the average on that side. So that does violate the site aspect of things. It seems like there's other options for this owner to take care of his or her dogs. I'd love to build a 6-car garage on my property and be working until 1 o'clock at night on my cars, but I have to be a good neighbor. And I think that's really the spirit, is we want to do what we can on our properties, but we also have to take into account our neighbors, because we want to be good friends and good neighbors. And and along with the health aspect of this, 5 German Shepherds, that's a lot of solid waste. I can't substantiate any claims of what they're doing with it, but I can only imagine how much is there and how that's dealt with. It'd be a tough task for anybody. So I think there is a health potential concern there. I mean, everybody's allowed to have as many dogs, but that's just, it's concerning to me.
Yeah, and looking at it purely from a fence and encroachment standpoint, it's clearly, within the setback limitations, and not by just a little bit, by a whole lot, so.
I think it's pretty obvious how I feel. I think everybody should enjoy their property the way they want to. I think people should have chickens. I think all of that, unless the neighbors have a problem.
Yeah.
And I think right here, we've got almost an entire neighborhood that's against this. Granted, the stuff is already cemented in the ground. That stinks. Good news is a grinder will cut through every one of those posts, and they can be reused, and it is what it is. They're going to come out of the ground. They're going to have to, when they put it back in somewhere else, but it can be removed pretty easily.
Yeah. Cliff?
I have trouble getting past number C up there, where, that seems to me that it's an obvious detriment to the neighborhood. I suspect, however, that the majority of the people here are more upset with the use of the fence than the fence itself. And there's probably other ways that the gentleman can keep those dogs on his property, and the fence may go away, but the dog issue may not. But that's not for us to decide here tonight.
Right.
I agree. I mean, the use of we can't do anything about that, but there seems like there's another fenced-in lot from your testimony of what you saw. There's options for somebody who wants to own 5 dogs or more for this property they have that could fall within the zoning guidelines that we have and still keep neighbors happy.
All right, any other?
Right.
We got one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walked in here today thinking this was a pretty simple issue, but it's not. So, I feel like there are some alternatives versus this fence, and I feel like the encroachment probably seals the deal in terms of not supporting the variance. I think, I agree, the dog issue is totally separate. I actually commend the person for training dogs for our police, which I think is incredible and a gift. But I keep wondering, it's such an odd lot, why, I don't know what your circumstances or what the circumstances were to buying that property, but it's such an odd lot. That's not necessarily conducive to a passion. So I think we can go from A to G and pretty much nix just about everything.
Right.
I agree with you about it's your property.
But the neighbor's got a problem, and they've got property also.
Yeah.
But the neighbors have a big issue. And if more people were passionate for, that would have come tonight, and more people maybe would have written in, maybe, we could have been swayed otherwise.
Yeah.
I think we're on it.
I think we're at a point where somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make it. I make a motion that we deny the case.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please. We have a second.
We have a motion on the floor made by Mr. Cavens, seconded by Mr. Thomas, to deny BZA case -20, is this 04? 03, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 03.
To deny case 20-03. Mr. Hackney?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Cavens?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, I'm sorry, but the case and the application was denied. Thank you for coming in. Okay. Kathy, do we have any new business here this evening?
No.
Yes, you're free to go. Thank you.
We will have a meeting next month. We do have a couple of cases that came in.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do we know about them at this point?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Don't know.
I don't know what they are.
Not at this time.
It's too late, sorry.
After the meeting.
Afterwards.
Yeah. Thank you. If you would kindly, excuse me, folks.
Guys, we still
Would you
have a meeting.
please leave into the lobby, please? The meeting is not ended.
Yes, sir, sorry.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have no additional business other than just what we have coming up in the next meeting.
That is correct.
Okay. I'd like to,
Well, we have unfinished business and
yeah,
administrative.
I don't think we've got any unfinished business, is there?
It's been a year, no one remembers.
You know, this will be, you know,
I have a question about some administrative.
Sure.
How are we doing on the rewriting of the bylaws, and will we be given any updates or any?
By,
past-
our board,
I mean, not the by, but the,
You're talking
the,
about
the zoning
the zoning.
updates.
Yeah,
oh, the zoning resolution,
rewriting.
yes.
They've
Um,
had issues with some of the
Yeah,
other-
McBride Dale Clarion is still moving forward. Obviously, because of current conditions, we've had to cancel those public meetings, but they are still moving forward and still working with staff, so we should be on time for the end of this year.
Is there any plans to interface with the Board of Zoning Appeals on any recommendations on some of those?
I believe they're going to talk with both boards,
Okay.
the zoning commission and the BZA, but I will clarify that tomorrow
Thank
in
you.
the office. Yep.
Okay. All right, anything else?
Go ahead.
All right, make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we've got
That was interesting.
a close on that, yeah. We are closed.